So first and foremost, I'd like to introduce where I'm coming from. I'm Ellen Neo, Senior VP for Sinarmas S Quantum Engine. So what is S Quantum Engine? S Quantum Engine, we are part of the digitalization unit for Sinarmas, especially for the financial services and mining pillars, to help our holdings to be able to grow digitally, but not only going digital, but also digitalizations that bring value to the company. So we are talking about the essential role of AI in corporate as a product manager. So yeah, a little bit about me. For my background, I always been in tech. I think I've been in tech for like 30 to 40 years. I previously venture capital, and then I work in Tokopedia. I also helped Pak Ahok building Jakarta Smart City under the expert team. And also I was in VCs one time, working on an impact investment company from San Francisco, leading the Investing in Women program. So my background is machine learning. I graduated from Korea. So yeah, that's why I joined this panel, speaking about AI and also digitalizations. So this is our team. Our team of SQE, we are actually trying to bring all the best talent from the tech company, from the consultant, even like the big four, and also like Google and etc., to help the digitalization inside our conglomerate company. During the past 3 years, we have done 60 digitalizations, mostly in mining, financial service, but we also do a lot of renewables energy and a lot of agentic AI and AI internally. So we do all of the technology. And then some of the projects that we have been done in all of the pillars, including like in the health security for the mining, and then in the financial services, and also we do a lot of AI piloting and also project inside our internal company, from legal AI to also co-pilot and also like videos AI. I think from us, it's not only about the AI, but the impact that is coming from the project that we are delivering. So when we do a lot of digitalizations in mining, which is a very traditional industry, actually the effort is big, but the impact is really big. Why? Because if you guys are aware or familiar about mining, in mining industry, you cannot have any incident. One incident happened, even though it's just like they kind of hit like the roadside, and then something happened because they are fatigued, then you have to close your mine. And then we talk about mining, we know like the impact of closing the mining down for 1 day is like, yeah, $1 million. So that's why putting an AI technology in that kind of business makes sense, because we are not only talking about convenience, but we are talking about avoiding fraud, avoiding risk, avoiding potential loss that are involving a lot of money. So when we talk about the agentic AI, maybe before I start, how many people are familiar about agentic AI? Maybe can raise your hand. The rest not familiar about agentic AI? Then who didn't familiar with agentic AI? Maybe can raise your hand. Okay, yes. So I think a lot of people, when we talk about agentic AI in my company, in Sinarmas, they was thinking like it's just like ChatGPT agent, right? Or like it's a callbot agent. So I think the difference between the traditional AI tools, like AI tools, you put a query and then your ChatGPT will be reply. But agentic AI, it will make an autonomous processes. So you already define like what is this agentic AI should be doing. So you don't have to prompt multiple times, you just set it up for the first time, you tell them the flow, you tell them what is the expected input and then output, and then they will make a multi-step workflow independently. And then this, they can dynamically adapt depending on how you build your model, and then they will orchestrate it end-to-end completely. So for example, when we create an agentic AI for legal document. So in Sinarmas mining, we have a lot of legal document. Every day we have a lot of threats document. So what we do is we just put like the specs that we already having within our contract letter with the buyer, and then we put it inside there, and then the agentic AI will know what to do. He will do all the things that are needed. You don't need to prompt them multiple times. When you are using ChatGPT, you're sometimes frustrated. They have a more static and stable outcome. So that is what the difference between the agentic AI and traditional AI. But there is a lot more implementation of agentic AI. I'll maybe share more about the agentic AI process that we have been doing. Okay. So for example, in the financial services, you can do a lot of agentic AI, such as call center, obviously, and then a co-pilot agentic assist, and then loan origination. So for someone want to do a loan origination, you can do like an end-to-end agentic there, or maybe policy renewal. So sometimes we like to call this agentic AI become our employee. So we have an employee for the loan origination. We have an employee for the policy renewal. Or maybe we have an employee for the agentic claim. So these are all the agentic AI use case that you can be doing. And usually the AI copilot will assist the users providing the intelligent suggestion and automated the repetitive tasks, and then they will enhance in the decision making. So that is the difference between just throwing your file, asking questions to ChatGPT. So in order to build this agentic AI, what we need first is know how to trigger and activate the AI agent. So in here, for example, what is the recurrence? When is this trigger? What is the item that need to be inputted? So only you need to set up the trigger, and then that's when the AI starts. It can be like when I upload a new document into a Google Drive. It can be when I send a content into a WhatsApp API, or just a WhatsApp into a certain number. So that can be the trigger for the agentic AI to start working. And then after that, you have to also do a prompt engineering. So you can do a crafting in here, like what exactly you want the instruction for the AI system. And you only done it once with a certain workflow. So here, I think because it's converted from the JPEG, so it's a bit blurry in the stage. So in here, if you can see here, this is like the workflow. So in each of this workflow, there will be, for example, I want to say this is the trigger, and then this is what you do, and then maybe this is the analysis part, and then it will be ended up in an output. And that is the automated workflow. And sometimes you still want to have a human in the loop, because a lot of these things, AI can only help you 90%, or maybe 95%, but you know there is something that AI sometimes miss, especially in numbers or maybe a contextual things that are maybe more tricky. So you should still put a human in the loops, especially in corporate. Sometimes your SOP document that are being put into agentic AI is not the same with your actual SOP. There's a lot of situations like that. You already built according to the SOP, but there is a lot of deviation, pengecualian, and hal-hal lainnya, petunjuk dari atas. So a lot of things that you have to go through that sometimes the agentic AI cannot capture that customized request from above. So what should we do as a product manager? Because this is a product role, this is a product stage, I will still talk about as a product manager, what should we be doing, despite of maybe most of you are not a product manager. So I think it's become different. When I was working in a digitalization product manager, what we do, we did make a problem statement, we did find what is the user need. But now, I think that complexity when you want to do an enterprise AI transformations, the work of the product manager is really different. First, of course, you have to really understand the use case to justify the investment and the change management that are needed. First, the investment in AI is not just upfront investment. There is a lot of like LLM investment, and then a lot of like storage if you need to store it in premise and etc. And then there is also a lot of change management that you have to face, especially when you're working in a financial services or a highly regulated industry, because most of them still require a lot of data sovereignty, or maybe some of them need to talk to OJK before implementing any services. But if you are working into your own family business, that might be easier. And then second, you need to also have a stakeholder alignment, especially in corporate, because we need to ensure that this AI get a buy-in. Everyone involved in this process will have to change the way they work. So that also become the part where the product manager have to work on that. And third, obviously, technical feasibility. When I talk to the CEO, what they want is they don't do anything and then the money just coming from the AI, right? But a lot of the use case that people thought AI can do, it still cannot be done by AI. or cannot be done like 60%. So that you need to be able to tell them about what is possible today, what is not possible today, or can be possible if we have certain data or certain homework that they need to do first before we implement those kind of things. And then the next is the change management to help the organization to adapt the AI workflow and overcome the resistance of the automations. I think the resistance of the automations is real, yeah. For example, if I was in bank and we have like a internal team that their role is to see whether someone making a mistakes, and then we change it with AI, those team, the team that you have to digitalize, have to be a subject matter expert. At the same time, they're also afraid to lose their job if their expertise are being automated. So the change management to ensure them that this is not a replacement, this is a supporting, it is actually an upskill issue and etc. It might be a tricky things that you have to manage. Unfortunately, it is also fall under product management. Obviously, you can also talk with the higher stakeholder to help them in the change management. And then the fifth is the ROI justifications. I think a lot of the AI are still not break-even point. The ROI was not justified. I could say, I read the report in McKinsey, 95% actually not able to meet the ROI justifications. But the thing is, if we didn't start now as a company, then we might be left behind by our competitor. So that's why the selection of the use case is really important to not only focusing on what is fancy on the outside, what is easy, but really find the problem that can bring you more value if you solve them. If I talk with the working team, a lot of the time they will just tell me their daily work. So for example, if I talk to a credit risk, they will say, how can you build an AI that can help me to audit this kind of data and then connecting all of the data so I don't need to check them one by one. But that is just a work of maybe 5 employees. 5 employees, if we assume the salary is like 20 million, it's just 100 million a month, and then the system might cost itself at 3 billion. So it doesn't make sense, right? So we need to find justifications for an AI in a use case that really, really matter, that are very difficult to be done by human. And if it can be done perfectly by the AI or done very well by AI, it can make sense on our investment justifications. So, yeah, this is the example of our agentic AI in safety mining. So in here, we actually put a mining hazard. So what happened is if you, in our mining sites, you have to report any hazard that you see. But what ends up happening is everyone taking a picture, and then there is a people that have to justify one by one. Is this a warning hazard? What happened if this is a warning hazard? But because everyone are being assigned, they have to put at least 10 mining hazard a day, so they're flooded with a lot of same mining hazard because everybody was in the same area. So with AI, they can reduce those kind of work, and then they will give directly what is the identification? Is it correct? How severe is it? And who should handle the next safety hazard? So there is no need of people no more in here. They might be able to QA once in a while to see whether it is the right assignment or not. So this is also one of our work in the banks. So we need to audit all of our internal documents. But because a lot of the human needed, we can only do sampling. And then we will apply the agentic AI to detect the anomaly or things that might have a potential fraud. And now we can increase the coverage from 10% to 100%. And we can find a pattern that human cannot done. Because as an auditor, sometimes you just see one document, right? But to be able to connect between 100 documents, if I give you an example, in banking, there is a regulations where if one person do a transaction more than 100,000 in a year, 100,000 US dollars, sorry, in a year, then they need an underlying documents of why they are doing those transactions. But if you're just checking the document one by one, you cannot find those kind of things. So therefore, the agentic AI can help them to see a pattern, or maybe to see a money laundering pattern. Like, why is this money is always end up into a certain person or group of people, but it was like sliced into a small pieces of money. So those kind of trend is something that maybe human cannot detect, but AI can detect this kind of trend. Yeah, so again, agentic AI always require a digital infrastructure. You cannot automate, build an agentic AI on what isn't digitized. The biggest problem in most of the company, especially financial service, everything is still on manual paper base. So instead of an agentic AI project, it sometimes becomes a digitalization on OCR scan project. You need to go through that process first before you can build all of those agentic AI. Again, you need to also justify your investment. Is it something that you want to focusing on? Because your AI project might become a digitalization project. Like a lot of the costs might coming to OCR and scanning and additional manpower are needed for the scanning. So what we usually suggest to start with something that are most data ready. If it's still on paper, we need to justify like how much of the paperwork that are actually needed to be scanned and really selecting the use case as well. And there is also a lot of problem where the data is scattered everywhere. They might have 3 loan system, and then they have like a core banking system that are in another place, and then they have another analytic data that are in another place. And then your role as an AI, you need to bring all of those data into one platform first. And some of them might not be in API. There is no integration point. Some of them might still in Excel or maybe Google Sheet. So those are the ugliness of agentic AI. It is sometimes it's not just a AI project. It's more like a data aggregation project in the beginning. So yeah, I'll say agentic AI is not sexy. It's actually dirty and messy if you really implement it in a company. So, but why still people try to implement it? Because they believe in the value that agentic AI can be bringing. It can increase your productivity up to 60%. It can also do a lot of automation that no more required people, and then your people can be upskilled to do better things. So before we go to agentic AI in our organization, actually we try to do a lot of upskilling for our organizations. At least in my divisions, we have like a bi-weekly sessions where we share about the use case. So we train ourselves how to do AI with no code, and then agentic AI using tools like n8n that can be done to build your own system. And then we also try to workflow automations, because usually we have to read like hundreds of SOP, but now we can use an AI tools, and that can help us to simplify the complex documentations from 3 days to 3 minutes. And also we can do a lot of presentations and AI demo using the AI tools that are already available. So again, I think this is the shift of how you as a product manager shift from a feature owner to an AI translator. You have to be able not just asking how can AI make this faster, how can AI generate this, but it's sometimes about how can we prevent the risk with AI? How can we generate something more than just a data aggregation? How can we give a foresight on this? What can be prevented? What can be done even better? And what is the impact value? So also, we have to design for transitions. It's not a replacement, but how can it become a human-in-the-loop design, but make everyone become more productive and can function in a higher level. So in short, PM must be the translator between the problem space and the intelligent systems, because those are the problem that will be happening when you try to bring your corporate into AI. Even though everyone talk about AI, in reality, I think only like 5% really understand what is it when I talk to them. And that is already at the scale of Sinarmas. So yeah, I think I'll skip those part. And I think that's the end of my presentations. We can start the Q&A.
First of all, thank you for the very insightful presentation. I just have one question. In your opinion, what are the core human skills needed by employees to truly optimize everyone's work, everyone's work with AI, and how it justifies corporate AI adoption? Thank you.
I think if we're talking about a person and AI implementations, we can split it into 2 aspects, I guess. There is like employee productivity, and then corporate or company productivity. If you're talking about employee productivity, sometimes people are pretty good at that. In fact, that they say the adoption of the AI for personal productivity of employee is like 50 to 60% in Jakarta at least. But actually, the company didn't feel the impact. So what happened is maybe you ask ChatGPT to do your work, and then maybe you just play and watch YouTube and Netflix on your working time, right? But the company doesn't feel the impact of the ChatGPT that you are being using. So on that part, I think humans are pretty good at that. But it's also become a dangerous thing when your employee outsource all of the thinking into the AI. So we should make the AI work for us, but not think for us. If you have a problem, don't just say, ChatGPT, make me a deck for Tech in Asia talking about agentic AI. Then that can also be a solution, but you won't be thinking. But what we want is for the employee to put their thought, put their brain into the AI, and then AI do the work for them. Imagine AI is the assistance for you, but the human still need to make the logic, the human still need to make the thinking, the human still make the decisions. And I think for the corporate, again, sometimes there will be a lot of conflict between what an employee wants and what the employer wants. If I talk with the people who are on the ground, they want their work to be simplified. If we talk with the people in the decision making, they don't want that kind of AI implementation. So finding a win-win between what's benefiting the company, but it's also given impact to the existing employee, that is the most important things. And that is where we as an SQE usually come in there to talk with both sides, the upper management and then the implementation on the ground, to really understand what is their pain point. Is it strategic enough? If it's not strategic enough, we will try to find more, inspire them more with another use case, so we can justify the ROI of the project. Because honestly, from 10 projects, for example, that I explore, only one project usually can meet the ROI expectations. A lot of them die in the ideation part or even in PRD part. So that's why it is a very tricky thing, but I think it's okay to kill a lot of projects that instead of after you spending a lot of money there and then you found out that it actually doesn't make sense for your investment. And then you become bitter about AI and don't have a very good feeling about the AI. So I think it's okay to be really skeptical, to be really critical about what you want to implement in the company. But again, don't be too critical as well, because if you miss the gate and everyone is already start doing the small step, and when the unit economics improve, then you will be missing a lot of things. Because honestly, from now until being able to be a AI native company is a big gap in Indonesia. Thanks, everyone.